Hey Internet friends, this is Joanna Brumley coming to you from Neon Frog Productions. This video is titled, The Law of Attraction Required Action. Understanding the law of attraction will lead you to the realization of what natural law principles are. These principles are laws created universally for the purpose of consequences bound by actions set in motion by an observer consciousness. The law of attraction principle sends back to the observer that which is in likeness to the observer's thoughts and emotions. It starts in the mind. Likes attract likes. With your thoughts and an emotion behind those thoughts are the first two steps in creation and manifestation. The third step required is action. The law of attraction will not create what you want or manifest what you want unless the law of action is present. Please do not underestimate this very important part of the manifestation process. You can imagine, with passion, driving a Lamborghini and focusing all of your thoughts on owning one, but if you have no action plan of how this dream will come true, the likelihood of that car falling from the sky is highly unlikely. Surprisingly, the amount of people who teach the law of attraction, making a tremendous amount of money doing it and leaving the action part out, is undeniably ludicrous. In fact, this law is the most talked about, discussed, and marketed principle of them all. Why leave out the most important aspect? Studying the occult, both light and dark, within the secret mystery schools will shed some awareness. Being conscious, allowing yourself to fully understand who you are is key. Occulted knowledge can and will bring you to that understanding. The word occult has been obfuscated to indicate something is evil. However, the word by itself is not evil. The occult definition literally means hidden. That which is hidden, then exposed, changes the occult knowledge into enlightenment, the true Illuminati. One is not illuminated if they are keeping their knowledge secret. Only when knowledge is shared, allowing wisdom to act, can one be truly enlightened or illuminated. Having true care, passing knowledge on to others, is wisdom. Its currency is love. The most important thing to remember about natural law is that it is not prejudiced, nor does it recognize good or bad intentions. It can only respect an alignment of thoughts, emotions, and actions. In order for the law of attraction to work, those three elements must be equal in currency for anything to manifest. It is harmonious, triune. Whether through willful or unconscious use of the law, we are creating with this law every day. We are held responsible through natural law as creators of our lives on a micro scale and co-creators of our worldview on a macro scale. Why not create with knowledge of the principles that we are already using with the intentions to help us better understand what the consequences of our choices are based on what we are thinking, feeling, and acting upon? Here is an example of how the law of attraction in action works on a worldview macrocosmic scale. Let's go back into recent history on October 18, 2019, when a tabletop discussion took place at the Johns Hopkins University called Event 201. You may recall that the event's topic of discussion was an experiment revealing the possible effects a pandemic could have globally, a tabletop experiment where private corporations working with governments to combat the probability of devastation the world could have if such a pandemic comes to fruition. The Event 201 focused the pandemic around a possible spread of SARS-CoV-2, a novel coronavirus that causes the COVID-19 disease. Interesting that this new virus disease hadn't been exposed yet in October 2019, but came to our world just a few months later. The event's agenda was an introduction of the problem or the first step using the law of attraction through a thought process towards a virus causing a pandemic. Looking into the Event 201 website, you will find a mock press release via video called Scenario Epilogue. This short video will give you an idea of how the media will be responsible using the law of attraction for the second component in manifestation, describing the pandemic using psychological mechanisms to instill fear into the minds of the populace, thus creating the thought process with a strong emotional association to help implement the plans the event has in mind for the future of the world. Since the pandemic became the thought and the fearful reaction of that thought became the emotional circuit, you now have a setup for an action plan of forced proposition with little effort. This plan, by creating a worldview that a pandemic could cause massive amounts of death, the agenda will not have much resistance when the minds of most people are in alignment with the first two components of the law of attraction. Taking the third step, at this point in time, we have witnessed much of the agenda set in motion towards this pandemic they have labeled COVID-19. Attending the Event 201 were 15 representatives working with various corporations, government entities, medical organizations, banks, and financial institutions. These individuals worked together to devise a plan that would cover every need in successfully running a pandemic operation. One had to remind themselves, while watching the recorded event, that it was just a tabletop experimental discussion. According to the press representatives of the event, the tabletop discussion was not actually preparing for the novel coronavirus pandemic. In order to create a successful plan of action, the event had to come up with funding, medical availability, travel and hotel expenses for medical professionals and vaccine scientists, as well as government support and business strategies. Representatives attending the event for the financial purposes were the World Bank Group, ANZ Bank Group, and the Monetary Authority of Singapore. In the medical arena, you will find that the United States and the China Center for Disease Control and Prevention were there, along with Johnson & Johnson and, of course, the hosts, the World Economic Forum, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Johns Hopkins Foundation, providing information for possible travel and hotel expenses for those professionals who may need them were the Lufthansa Group Airlines and the Marriott International. For a successful plan of operation, the Event 201 had government support from a United States former Deputy National Security Advisor, the United Nations Foundation, and for delivering medical supplies, the UPS Foundation. Among the miscellaneous attendees that contributed input for the purposes of the event were media and tech representatives from NBC Universal and the Edelman Company, the Entrepreneur Corporation covering business strategies for healthcare providers was Henry Sheen. As you can see, during this tabletop discussion, all bases were covered. If in the event of a pandemic, they would be prepared and ready, waiting in the background for just the right time, the third component of the law of attraction, the law of action. In just a few months, governments around the globe were announcing that a mysterious pneumonia-like illness of some kind had broken out, killing much of its citizens in Wuhan, China. This illness, labeled a pandemic and called none other than the novel coronavirus that causes the disease, COVID-19. Propositions from these governments suggested that all people be quarantined, businesses temporarily shut down, and wearing a face mask to help prevent the spread of this virus disease. Later, these suggested guidelines became mandates, behind-the-scenes executive orders, and new laws, causing unjust surveillance, political racism, rioting, looting, arsonism, coercion, duress, and civil unrest. All actions corresponding to a fear-based reaction originated from the thought of a deadly virus that went pandemic. What role are we playing in contribution to this COVID-19 worldview? How have we as a whole applied the law of attraction in action as individuals and globally? When you read or hear of COVID-19, what thoughts come to mind? How do you feel about it? Are you taking any precautionary measures towards your health? Do you tend to lean on pharmaceutical medical influencers, or do you take a more holistic approach? Asking questions about what is going on and if you are doing the right things at this time are crucial in the outcome of the proposed pandemic. Being in the moment each day, aware of what you are thinking and feeling, will direct your choice of actions. This is the law of attraction. You have been given free will, and what you do with that creates your life, and as a co-creator, the world. Remember, thoughts become things. Where the focus goes, energy towards that focus grows. You can increase your level of energy, which will flow from you at a higher frequency if you are eating live fruits and vegetables, getting the right amounts of vitamins and nutrients, taking the time to exercise in nature, and rest. It is essential to gain knowledge that helps you to evolve as a sentient being. Freedom is your birthright, and we live in a dark world where at every level you will find controlling forces who want to take that right away. It is your duty to know what freedom is and to be able to distinguish between natural law principles and man-made laws. The answer is you, an infinite being having a life experience in a body that allows you to operate on this planet. Everything that you are seeking is inside you. Within you resides the creator of your soul. The very essence of you is in direct proportion to the creator. Never forget that you are the microcosm to the macrocosm, a smaller world connected to a larger world. You hold the power to create whatever you want. The law of attraction is always at work, and it will send you what you ask for by an alignment of thought, emotion, and action. What goes in by law must come out. Continue to learn, stretch, grow, and surround yourself with others who challenge you to be a better you. Share your knowledge and experience with others. It will be no accident that your information will be exactly what someone else is looking for.